Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bumpkin News. Today is December the 13th, 2011, and the Bumpkin in Chief here wanted to talk a little bit about the Occupiers, the Occupy movement, and why they are the height of hypocrisy, for one thing, and why they are now the new 1%, the very thing that they're ostensibly protesting, they have become. Let's look at this by the numbers. Look at this logically and rationally. Let's say that we have a city that has 100,000 occupants in that city, and let's say 1,000 of them have a protest that they want to make, and so they go down to the municipal building and they get the proper permit, and they go down to the town square and they have their protests, they make their point. Let's say that the permit is good for 6 hours, 8 hours. They have all day, they carry their signs, they have their megaphones and what have you, and they have a good, solid, rousing protest. They get some support from the community. Everybody gets the message. Everybody understands. Everything's cool. And case closed, right? No, not quite. Let's say these 1,000 protesters decide that they're not going to leave. They begin to invest the town square or the town park, and they refuse to leave, and pretty soon, after a few weeks of this illegal activity, it becomes a public nuisance with all the trash, the debris, the defecation, the health issues involved, and the just general decrepitness of this becomes a problem for everybody. And the problem is that you got 99,000 people in the community that are denied their right to protest in this square because the 1,000 are infringing on the rights of the 99,000. So it's the 1% here that have infringed on the 99%. If we look at this, we're seeing immaturity, and we're seeing selfishness, and we're seeing, as far as the time and the space, we're seeing a greed that they don't want anybody else to be able to utilize the facilities which belongs to everybody. And so the Occupy group has become the 1%, and are exhibiting these traits of gross immaturity and a disregard for the rights of others, and selfishness. Exactly those things that they are supposed to be protesting against by the banks. You know, we heard today that in the news that some protesters, occupiers out on the West Coast, are going to try to shut down some shipping areas. I forget what town, San Diego, Portland, or somewhere there on the West Coast. Another example of this small minority trying to inhibit freedom for the majority. And I'm not talking about unlawful freedom. I'm talking about lawful, your constitutional rights and your freedom to carry on commerce. They're trying to do this now. I've had a little interaction with some of the occupiers, and you know what I found out? I found out that they're spoiled. As I said, they're immature, they're brats. They don't want to take any responsibility for themselves. They don't have any self-reliance or resourcefulness, because I've actually said, you know, why don't you don't do business with these companies that you think they're making too much money? Why don't you name them out so that everybody can stop doing business with them? you can bring them to heel that way. I mean, that's what the free market does. Why don't you go out and start a credit union and drain away the financial resources from these institutions and put them out of business? And then, and the response that I get is, well, we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do except get out here and protest. That's the only thing that we can do, and we can cause problems for legitimate society and for people going about their day-to-day business trying to earn a living. We can cause problems there, but that's all that we can do. We can't do anything on ourselves. And it wasn't long after this interaction with the Occupy movement that I saw where there was a National Transfer Your Funds Day. Get your money out of these institutions that you think are ripping you off and put them somewhere else, like your credit union. It's incredible to me that the gross hypocrisy here. And I think now that governments are finally saying, local governments are saying, okay, you've had your chance, you've protested, you've made your point, now you're just abusing your fellow citizens to the degree that it's time that we have to move you out. And they're going in and cleaning out these places. Now, what would be the proper way to protest? Would be to obey the laws. As we said before in another video, free speech is not unlimited and not absolute. There are limits on free speech. You can't go in a courtroom and say anything that you want to say at any time you want to say it. You don't have a right to appear before Congress and make your views known. If you did have that right, then there would be millions of other citizens that would have that same right, and Congress would never be able to do anything because all the citizens would be permitted to speak before it. We live in a representative government, and when you disobey the law and you protest all out of all legal bounds, all out of all sensible bounds, then you begin to infringe on the rights of your fellow citizens. Not accomplishing anything, you're losing the respect, actually losing the respect of your fellow citizens. The reason that we're at this point is because of the failure of our educational system, the failure of parents to educate their children in financial matters. It's incredible to me that so many young people don't understand the basics of finance. No wonder they're getting ripped off. But when you're 21 years old and you sign on the dotted line, hey, don't cry to me. Don't want me to clean up your mess. There might be times when you suffer misfortune that a taxpayer like myself or an individual like myself, sure, I'll help you. But don't try to extort from me. Don't try to trample on my rights. That's no way to get my sympathy. But if you make your point and obey the law, we won't have any problems. We get it. In the short run, what we need to do is boycott these large businesses that are ripping people off and taking advantage of people, and we need some serious conservatism in the elections coming up in 2012. Hey, that's what the Bumpkin thinks. Let me know what you think.